Yes, yes. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. Festive season time. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Got my coffee. ColumbusongCoffeeCompany.com. Got my Pan-African lens on. Christmas time, festive season, uh, uh, Kwanzaa right in front of us. Consciousness time. We're going to learn about Kwanzaa today. One of the most, deep culture keepers in this space that I know. My travels all over the community. Brother R.W. Akile is here. He's going to tell us about Kwanzaa. Let's see if we can get him. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, that
Grand
was
Rising. How you
Grand
doing?
Rising.
Yes.
Yes, brother. Man, good to see you. Look at you.
Nice seeing you too.
Yeah.
It's been a while, especially since we've been able to be on the same stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the situation. What you want to know?
Man, okay, so listen, people are blowing our emails up, hitting us up on our DMs. They want to know about Kwanzaa. Just, even the basics is getting a Kanara and the right candles and the order and all of that. But I would love for
Well,
you to talk about that. But let's just kind of set the stage because, you know, what is Kwanzaa?
well, I'm gonna jump all the way back.
Yeah, yeah.
When Kwanzaa came, we had no idea what was actually happening. Just gonna tell you, nobody knew. Um, Let me go all the way back to Malcolm X. Malcolm X came back from his journey across the water. He hit the ground running because he had been impressed by his visit to Addis Ababa when he had seen the Organization of African Unity. Uh, he spoke there and he made a commitment to himself. I'm sure when I get back, I'm gonna start something like this when I get back home. So, and by the way, I want everybody to know this: Addis Ababa, the place of the new flower or the place of the pretty flower. That's what Addis Ababa means. So everybody, when they hear that name, now they know what it means. Now, Malcolm, he got back June 1st, maybe May 31st, 1964. He hit the ground running. He wrote a letter. He penned the letter saying something to the effect of, listen, y'all, I'm going to start an organization called the Organization of Afro-American Unity, based somewhat like the Organization of African Unity. It's going to be June 24th through the 28th in New York City, in Audubon Ballroom. So please, if you can come on. And he mailed this letter out. He mailed it to all the Black nationalist organizations that he knew of, and individuals and bookstores. Ayuku Babu, I'm sure you've heard of Babu. Babu just earlier this year attested to having seen the same letter. He said when a brother by the name of Akile had hit on him to join the Omegas, and Babu said, hey man, that's cool, but I'm down with the revolutionaries because I saw this letter from Malcolm X at the Aquarian Spiritual Center, and that's what I'm down with. And Arthur Graham, who was in San Diego, he had got the letter. So, time frame. When Babu is talking about this, it's in June, maybe June 12th or thereabouts, 1964. Graham got the letter. It's about the same time. Graham is the founder of the Black student movement. He started the Black Student Council at Cal State San Diego. And that's why he had received a letter inviting him or his organization representative to be there. So Graham was inspired by Malcolm, and he wrote the 7 principles. That's right. He wrote the 7 principles. And he arranged for Josh von Woolfolk, a member of the Black Student Council, to go to New York and present the 7 principles. And that's what Josh did. He went to New York and he presented the 7 principles. And most people are not aware of this. They think that it was, it came from somebody else. But I'm just telling you, that's where they come from. So when Josh returns to LA, to San Diego, rather, excuse me. He returns to San Diego, and Malcolm subsequently gets murdered by the whatever forces that were involved with taking him down. What Art said, he said that after that, because I remember it myself, we were shocked by what happened. And so the Black Student Council had heard of this cat by the name of Karenga, Ron Karenga, in Los Angeles, who was teaching Swahili at Fremont High School Adult School. He used it as a recruiting base where he recruited membership for the US organization and the Afro American Association. Actually, the Afro American Association before the US organization. But anyhow, so Joe Vinson, a member of the Black Student Council, he was tasked with going and contacting Karenga and asking him to translate the titles, 7 principles, unity through faith, respectively, into Swahili. And as Graham said to me, we told him, leave the English text alone. So as Graham, he said, Karenga did an excellent job of coming up with Nguni Saba, Umoja, Kujichagulia, and so forth on down the line to Imani. And so that was in 65. That was again in 65. Gloria Vinson invites Karenga to come to San Diego to make a presentation about what he was doing in LA. As she said, there was nothing Black happening in San Diego, so we wanted to hear what was happening. And that's why we invited him to come to San Diego. So after he made his presentation, Graham said he didn't want to be at the meeting. But when he finished his presentation, Joe called Graham and they put Karenga on the line and they told him, we want you to start a holiday, December 26th to January 1st, base it around the 7 principles and give it an African name. Now, a person who was there, who lives in Barstow, California right now, her name is Reverend Salimu P. Ridgway. She said, oh, I remember that meeting. It was in the living room of Gloria and Joe Vinson. I was there. That's what she said. So that is the nexus of the actual origin of the 7 principles. Nobody would have realized this And when I say this, let me take us back in time. 1968. Betty Shabazz is co-grand marshal of the Watts Festival Parade. And Damu, the late Ngao Damu, one of the original members of the U.S. organization and who was there when Kwanzaa started. What he had said to me, he was relating this incident that I'm talking about at the Watts Summer Festival Parade. He said that Betty Shabazz got into an argument with Karenga. I, for the life of me, could not grasp why was, of all people, Betty Shabazz engaging Karenga, a nationalist. Why was she engaging him in an argument? I couldn't grasp that. Damu said, she said, you're stepping on my husband's legacy. Now, that was in the probably about 82, somewhere in that time frame that he's telling me this. So it took me until I sit with Arthur Graham in 2021. I'm helping Arthur Graham. Arthur Graham his health is deteriorated. He had gotten dehydrated, and so I'm helping him. I'm in Phoenix. Phoenix is a hot place. Trust and believe that. It was very hot. But anyhow, I'm helping Graham, and he broke it down to me. He said that Josh had made the presentation. And that's key. Betty had seen Josh make the presentation. That's why the argument in 1968 had taken place. Hey, buddy, I can respect the fact that you've invited me and Merle Evers to be co-grand marshal of this parade. But I have to put a pin in that, because if you don't tell the truth about the 7 principles, I can't ride in this parade, because we consider the 7 principles to be part of our legacy. The Organization of Afro-American Unity was the apex organization of Black nationalist thought. And so she gave Karenga an out. Tell the truth. Tell what happened. And I can attest to 2 people. One is Tony DC. The other sister, I don't know. Tony DC was 8 years old. Her father had taken her to the Watts Festival Parade. And the reason why she wanted to be at the parade, because she wanted to see Betty Shabazz. She was 8 years old at that time. Another sister who was 18, she said she was there to see. She just told me this last, I believe it was Friday. She said this, that I was there to see Betty Shabazz. Wow. And when I didn't see her, it wasn't until you just told me what happened. Same with Tony DC. She said, I didn't know why all these years, I didn't know why Betty Shabazz did not appear in the parade. And what had happened is that Regina Damu's wife, was the personal host of Betty Shabazz and on August 10th, 1968. And after they put the stipulations to Karenga, say, listen, you want me to ride in the parade? Tell the truth about the origin of the 7 principles, and I'll ride in the parade. If you don't, I'm out of here. As it was, she turned to Regina and said, take me back to your house. I'm not going to ride in this parade. I'm not going to be a part of this. And so that is something that people do not know. Nobody, until they've heard me say that. Just telling you, that's the absolute truth. And why I'm saying this, I'm going to go back even further. Kwanzaa, an event, had been prophesied 1,870 years prior, when the book of Revelations was published, where it says in Revelations chapter 13, verse 18, he who hath wisdom or understanding will calculate or can calculate the number of the beast. And his number is the number of a man, and it is 666. How does this relate to Kwanzaa? And I'm going to drop it on you right now. December 26, 1966, add those numbers up. I hope you have a pencil and a pen. That comes to 6. 12/26/1966. Add those numbers up, you get 6. At 13:02, another 6.
Okay.
And here's the tie. Santa Barbara was the name of the street at that time. Santa Barbara is the. Can I continue?
Yeah.
Santa Barbara is the code name our ancestors used to hide their worship of Shango. And Shango's number is 6. Shango is the hero to the underdog. He was the hero to the slave. He represents justice. So making Kwanzaa the age of Kwanzaa, because that's what this prophecy was all about. It was about an age coming. Our scribes had been recorded. They had recorded this incident. And again, no one knew that on this day, December 26, 1966, was a full moon. It was a 99% gibbous full moon. It achieved 100% on December 27th, meaning that this new age was thrust into existence. We are in a new age. Yes, a new age, a new time. An age has a life of 2,160 years just to begin. And we're in the last couple. Actually, this is the 20. Oh wow! Tomorrow is the 30th of Wamitu, the end of the 13th month of the Kwanzaa calendar. Some of you will see this calendar. We're on the eve to the eve. We're on what they call Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is the eve of the last day of our year, which is the 30th of Wamitu. We are
All right,
into.
so this is really fascinating history there. You know, I'm actually born and raised San Diego. I didn't know there was such a connective tissue to San Diego, and the person said right, when not much black going on. You know, we're just a tiny little community in San Diego. You know, it probably still is to this day.
Oh, it
Uh,
is. That's right. That's right. You're right.
yeah, yeah, man. One many of us, but you know, let me ask you this question. Okay, so now we here, and said something very key early on. Is like back in those beginning days, you guys didn't know or realize that it would be so big, and some would even say they try to commercialize it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But the main thing is what we would love for some of the viewers and listeners to grab from today. And since you were there at the origin, man, why is it important for us in our African communities to commemorate or observed Kwanzaa in any shape, form, or fashion?
Because not only does it represent a holiday, it represented the beginning of a new age, an age of payback, an age of we're on the come around. You heard the statement. It says, "What goes around comes around."
Yeah.
We're on the come around. Now, however it is going to manifest itself, I don't know. I'm not even going to attempt to say that I know. But those that have karma, they will reap their karma because they've done what they have to repeat to reap. I didn't make this be. My aunt explains it. Said that what you do, you get back. You do good right, you get good back. You do bad right, you're gonna get bad back too.
Yeah.
So Kwanzaa literally launched a new age. And the Kwanzaa calendar is the timekeeping device of this age. You may ask me, how did I come about? Okay, let me break this down. I
Mhm.
was head of the Kwanzaa coordinating committee here in Los Angeles, and I had asked Damu, how can I make a contribution to Kwanzaa? He said, whatever it is you do, don't take away from the Nguni Saba.
Mhm.
Okay. So I started doing some research, and I figured out that uh, Kwanzaa began on a Monday. December 26, 1966 was a Monday. And that meant that the Kwanzaa week would not, rather than starting on Sunday, it starts on Monday. Umoja. Second day of the week is Kujichagulia. Third day, Ujima. Fourth day, Ujima. Fifth day, Nia. Sixth day, Kuumba. Seventh day, Imani. Um, those are the days of the week. Then that would mean that the first year would be an Umoja year.
Mhm.
The second year in a 7-year cycle would be the Kujichagulia year, and so forth on down the line. Like this year, as we speak at this moment in time, we are in the last 2 days of the year of Kujichagulia,
Mhm.
preparing at 12 midnight, 001, 1 second after 12 midnight. Happy New Year!
Mhm.
And we welcome the 59th year of the Kwanzaa era.
Mhm.
I mean, that's now
Wow.
folks can oh, he don't know what he's talking about. Oh, he this whatever it is they gotta say it. Cool. I don't have to defend nothing. I'm just saying there it is. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like me. I'm just saying I'm the reporter and I've dropped it out there for you.
But you've been at the mix since the beginning, eh?
Well, I've been doing it a little while. You know what I mean? I
Yes, I
mean,
do.
I,
You
I
know
mean,
I
and
do.
see, and see how. Now, I want people to realize this. And when I got involved, I had met Karenga in 1964. His cousin, um, Bruce Jose, and I went to Dorsey High School together, and that was Ron Karenga's cousin.
Mhm. Mhm.
Karenga graduated from LA High School in 1960 with my first cousin, Joyce Evans. And
Mhm.
so, Bruce took me by Karenga's house. He lived on La Brea, just south of Venice, on the Sunset side of the street.
Yeah.
I met him, and so I had no idea that our lives would become entwined later.
Mm.
Um, when he wasn't, he was in jail. You know, he was in
Mm.
jail. He had been convicted of an incident where he had participated in the torturing of two sisters. One of them was Idili Mashariki. The other one was Deborah Jones. Um, she wrote a book. She has a book out, and it's available, I believe, on Amazon. I can't think of the name of the book, but anyhow, documents. Deborah Jones documents what happened. Idili Mashariki documented with Doctor well, the brother that wrote the Fighting for Us. He wrote the book of Fighting for Us, Dr. Scott Brown.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
he has a couple of, I think he said he has 4 hours of audio tape of what Idili said. Um, Thandi Shimaranga helped Deborah Jones write her book. But the point is that uh, I would think that at the very least, Maulana Karenga, he would at least owe those sisters a uh, an apology. I'm sorry, whatever. I was foolish. I was stupid, or whatever it is he had to say. I don't know. I can't make a grown person say what they are supposed to say. Given the fact that he has written a book about Ma'at and he considers himself to be an expert on Ma'at, I would think that he would be true to the game. I mean, it's there for him. He cannot, to me, deny. And in Deborah Jones' book, she points out that Tia Moya stuck a hose in my mouth. That's what she says. I mean, that means that Tia Moya was part of the. There were four people, two brothers, Tia Moya and Ron Karenga. That was what was there. And one of the reasons why he doesn't speak to his first wife, Haiba, is because she testified against him. Um, being
Mm.
his wife, she didn't have to say anything, but she testified
Right.
against him. But anyhow, all that aside, I would think as a leader that he would step forward and say, yes, I did this. And I I did time. I was convicted of it. And so I really want to apologize and ask these sisters to accept my apology. May they, whatever it
Mm.
is he had to say, that's on him. None of us, note this, none of us can put the words into his mouth. That's something he must come to. And none of us can say, oh, that didn't happen. No, it happened.
Mhm.
All that aside, it simply
With
is
them or
saying this, is that we can't elevate personalities. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? That and we accept that and move forward. But we can't act like these things didn't exist. It
yeah,
existed. It happened.
yeah.
That doesn't mean it has no it has no bearing negatively on Kwanzaa because Kwanzaa came and it's gone. Listen, you will not hear me say millions of people celebrate Kwanzaa. I would say Black people here celebrating Kwanzaa maybe 2 million people. And I think I wouldn't go any higher than that. And the reason why I say that, contrary to what anybody else may say, I ask anybody if they doubt what I'm saying, close your eyes, go anywhere you want to go, turn to anybody and say, what is the Nguni Saba? And listen to their response, especially if you're on, let's say, the subway or on a bus or at the airport. Ask, Anybody? What is the Nguni Saba? Typically, you might get a what? What is that? I don't know what that is. Just being, if we be honest, we will recognize that because most of us, 99% of us, are still Baptists and Catholic or Protestants of various types, or Muslims or Buddhists or whatever it is we may call ourselves. We have not taken time out to understand what Kwanzaa is all about. There's nothing to motivate that. And the information that's out there is it's it's questionable. Number one, which again another thing that y'all don't realize. Part of the project of me enhancing the Nguni Saba in 1975, it was the year that my mother passed away. And part of our story as a family is that our real name is Coffee. That's what our real name is Coffee. That's what my mother told me. And so, following my mother's memorial service, I asked my aunt Nona. I said, "What is this name story? Our real name being Coffee? Is that the slave master's name? No, that's our African name." Bam! When she said that, I already knew that Coffee was Kofi. I knew that off from the get-go. I said, that means that we are Khan. And so I'm in the art studio. I'm babysitting my son. Maybe September of 75. I'm in the art studio of David Hammond at 2nd Avenue in Slauson, upstairs with my son Quayle. I'm waiting for Marcus Garvey to get out so I can go pick up my daughters. And so I'm looking through some of the magazines that David Hammond had in his studio, and I see the chart of the Adinkra symbols, and I said, wow, this comes from my culture. I said, ancestors, please show me the 7 principles that would represent the Nguni Saba. Now, these symbols that I'm getting ready to show you hopefully, yeah. Hopefully you can see these. These are the symbols that I saw right here. These symbols were the symbols that I saw. I hope everybody can see this. Now, I showed these symbols to Karenga in 76 at Saidi Publications. I was proofreading the calendar, and he and his wife came in. His bodyguard Wasifu came in. The actor Mosley, who played the helicopter pilot in Magnum PI.
Yeah. Roger Mosley.
Roger E. Mosley, that's right. He was there. Anyhow, Karenga, he gravitated over to where I was at a table proofreading. And I show him, said, this one represents Umoja, and this one Kuji Chagalia, and this one blah, 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 blah. His words were, you've done quite a bit of research. I said, well, I've done a little bit, a little bit. And that was all that we said. That was 76. 4 years later, I see another set of symbols. Maybe 5 years later, I see another set of symbols introduced through by Kalamo Yasalam out of a Hindiana in New Orleans. When I saw this, my thought was that Maulana had no desire about being unified. And this is a reality that I had already experienced. Not I, the organization, which was the Los Angeles Kwanzaa Coordinating Committee. We had already experienced a degree of disunity that Karenga was displaying, because he never, first of all, he tried to kill the Kwanzaa parade from the very beginning. He didn't think there should ever be a parade. He was in San Diego at the time, and in Zinga, Ratabisha and Zinga and Sundiata, they were working with the Kwanzaa Coordinating Committee, and they would go surreptitiously to San Diego to meet with him. They had put together a children's program, Sundiata and Ratabisha, the late Ratabisha and Zinga. They had put together a children's program that it would actually take place at the, this was 77, at the Memorial Building. It was a hall there in Centinela Park at the time. I can't remember the name of the park. The name has changed to honor a
Ed
politician.
Vincent Park in Inglewood?
Yes, the same
Yeah,
park.
Ed Vincent
Okay,
Park.
so yes, so now the Gwaride, that was my subcommittee to have
Mhm.
a Gwaride. That was my subcommittee. Even I'm head of the coordinating committee, but my subcommittee is the parade. And the the body had doubt about themselves to do the parade,
Mhm.
and so they actually voted the parade out. So I resurrected it back up. The parade came about because we had at the 77, the last festival in black, that festival that took place at MacArthur Park, and I put the I wasn't it wasn't just by myself. I helped put together an information booth on Kwanzaa. Gina Ray Malka Parpar is the one who she came to us at Malcolm X festival that was taking place at Brookside Park in Pasadena. And she said, "Hey, I got a booth at the Festival in Black, and I want to have an information booth on Kwanzaa. You know anything about Kwanzaa?" And so she was with the people. So we said, yeah, and we voted right on it right then and there. Damu, myself, and Dadisi Sanyika, we, we said, yeah, let's do this. And so that's how that got started. And so after the uh, Festival in Black is over, what goes down is that we have a review, and we were vetting what had taken place. And
Mhm.
so that was the year that Festac had taken place, and a brother by the name of Karimu Shah he had been in Festac in Lagos, Nigeria, the Festival of African Arts and Culture. He had been there, and he had seen a lot of parades. And so in the review of what we had done with the information booth in Shanae Wilburn's living room, uh, the question came about, well, what are we going to do for Kwanzaa? Karimu suggested, let's do a parade. And I thought it was a great idea. We voted on it and said, yeah, let's do it. So Damu paid for the permit, and I went and took it in and took it to the LAPD and special events, and that's how it got started. I think his name was Sergeant Hubbard. I think that was his name, and
Mhm.
he cut it down because the original route was from Adams and Crenshaw to Leimert Park. And the reason why Adams and Crenshaw to Leimert Park is that Crenshaw represented the Nile River, ending in Leimert Park, the Great Lake, Lake Inalobali, or also known as Lake Nyanza. The white folks call Victoria. That's what it represented. And so and it was a north-south route. So that's why it ended up on Crenshaw Boulevard going to Leimert Park. And so, but Hubbard said, well, it's a new event, so it can't go over 1.5 miles. And so we cut it to Exposition in Crenshaw, going to Leimert Park. Same route otherwise, just not quite as long. We have since, after doing it for 10 years from Exposition and Crenshaw to Leimert Park, we expanded it about about the late 1980s or early 1990s. That's when we expanded to go all the way back to Crenshaw like we wanted to, and that's what we've been doing ever since. But like I said, Karenga did not want there to be a parade, and he influenced the group, and the group actually voted out, and we had a 2-car motorcade. We were expecting more people to come. It was Anyam Iji Igu, who I had sold him a red, black, and green Porsche. I was selling cars at this time, and so I had sold him a black Porsche, and he had red and green highlights put on it. So it was a red, black, and green Porsche. And K-Ace Radio had a double-decker signature bus, a London bus, red double-decker bus.
Yeah.
And you remember that, right?
Yeah.
So D.D.
Wow.
Davis, the father of Willie Davis, football great Willie Davis, and owner of Beaumont Distributors and K-Ace Radio, it was their bus, and they would store it on 111th place. Now, on December 26, 1977, December 26, 1977, we met over there at 11 in the morning. Amanifu, one of my partners and brother with Shangana Ingal Damu. Ingal Damu was the head of he was like our spiritual head of Shangana. Shangana comes from those who keep the information, keep the secrets, and don't spread it. That's what Shangana represents. But anyhow, so we met, and Amanifu, D.D. Davis, Anyam Palmer. Dr. Anyam Palmer is the founder of Marcus Garvey School.
Palmer.
That's right. And
Marcus
so
Garvey School.
that's right. And so Amanifu and I decorated. We used red, black, and green streamers, and we decorated the Porsche and the double-decker bus, and we waited until 1 p.m. and nobody else showed up. So we turned around, because we were facing east at the time. We turned around and proceeded to the corner of 43rd Place and Crenshaw. We made a right turn. Now listen, we made a right turn going downstream the Nile. We went to Adams, made a right turn on Adams over to Western, made another right turn on Western, south to now King Boulevard, at the time Santa Barbara. And we made a left on Santa Barbara, went over to Central, right turn on Central to Slauson, right turn on Slauson to Vernon, yeah, to on Slauson, on Slauson, not to Vernon, but to Vermont. Left turn on Vermont, south to Manchester. Left turn on Manchester to Broadway. Right turn on Broadway to Century. Left turn on Century to Central. Right turn on Central to 103rd. Left turn on 103rd over to Compton. I think it's Compton Avenue. Made a right turn to 111th place, left turn on 111th place to the end of the block where the double decker bus was domiciled, and then we
That's
I'm
covering
a
a lot
Negro,
of
and
the
I
hood. That's the hood for real. You went through all the communities.
yeah we were that's what we did, and as we were going through the community, we were saying Happy Kwanzaa, Happy
Yeah, yeah,
Kwanzaa. That's what we did, and so then and then it started to rain. It didn't rain hard, but that was a very, for those who don't know, that was a very wet year.
mm,
77 was an extremely wet year. It was one of the, I'm I stay on top of weather, and when
yeah,
I say it rained like 30 some odd inches, which is unusual for Los Angeles, but it rained
yeah,
over 30 inches that year.
yeah.
And as I said, as it came to an end, it started to rain.
Mhm.
So we really had a great year in terms of the children's event and all that. Everything
Yeah,
ended up fine,
yeah,
but
yeah,
just saying, the what's the term, the intrigue, the
yeah.
so forth. That's a lot of folks are not aware of that. So I mean that.
Well, it's interesting. This is great and fascinating history, and I thank you so much for sharing. I want to kind of take a step back, and like you say, there's only a few people, Black folks, who really will celebrate or commemorate Kwanzaa, and I do get that. I do see an increase of people trying to learn more about it, and you indicated, people's spiritual beliefs within our communities, whether they're Christian, Muslim, whatever, are seem to be the barriers for people embracing Kwanzaa. And I remember, I'm going to share this with you, my brother Akile. You know that I'm a man of faith. You know that I am a Christian, and I'm going to tell you, I can exegete a sermon from the Nguni Saba. My mother and I did it.
Okay, I heard that. Yes. Okay, I
Yeah,
got you.
we did it. Yeah, we took each value of each of the days, and we were able to find, a word about it. So listen, I might preach that one day on mine.
What? Well, now, what I want to add to the wrinkle.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the wrinkle. Because I had seen an example. The example was what not to do. That was
Ah,
what I had seen with Karenga.
ah,
So I didn't, even though I had the cycle down. I refer to the cycle as the boss cycle. The boss
ah,
cycle is an infinite cycle. It goes forward and goes backwards, with the key point being that 19 December 26, 1966, the last 6 days of 66, and the year of 67 being the first year of the Kwanzaa era. Now, that means that was an emoji year. 68 was a Kujichagulia year, and so forth on down the line. And that's a repeated cycle. So now that means, at first I just had it listed as the seven principles, but finally it was in the early 2000s. I asked the ancestors, I said, please, this is what I do, is how I've done it. I said, show me what differentiates one personality from another. And so what came about was the Umoja person, the Kujichagulia person, the Ujima person. Since this is the an Ujima year coming up, let me read it. It says, This person has an inner fire as they seek to accomplish greatness. They are the glue as they strive to get others work together. This person may be perceived as being timid because they are the quintessential optimist. Having adabu, propriety, as their hidden virtue, they are fastidious to the max. Joining movements is what they do best because they want things to be done properly. This is the energy of the personality, those born in a Ujima year. Uh, an Umoja person, for example, this person likes challenges. Never put an open challenge to such a person. These people will bear down, willing to face any challenge. Umoja people are famously known as step to you people. They speak to the truth, sometimes referred to as being idealists. Umoja people will base everything on Kweli, their shadow virtue. Now, let me ask you, for example, what year is your birth?
1957.
You said 1957?
Yes, sir.
1957, Nia.
Ah,
Nia, pointed, short, quick, and direct. Nia people do not like confusion. They are known for being quick thinkers who grab the raging bull by the horns and make things work when others might give up. These hardworking people are single minded with a tunnel like focus. Nia people can be tolerated because their intentions are never ill. With Usawa, balance, as their shadow virtue, they see both sides of a story. Now,
nice.
you heard that. Does that fit you?
Yeah, it does actually.
You see what I'm saying? Listen, this has humbled me to the max because every time somebody reads it, that's what they say, exactly the way that you said it. Why that
Wow.
is, I don't know. All I'm saying is that I asked the ancestors to show this to me, and they did. I'm the
Wow.
chombo. I refer to myself as a chombo. Um, what I did, for example, after I had spoken to Damu about making a contribution to Kwanzaa, I looked at the setting. They had the kinara, they had the mishuma, they had the mkeka, um, they had the muhindi, and but they didn't have a name for the bowl or the basket.
Ah.
So that became the chombo.
Mm.
And because it's what you hold things through. Hold things. That's where you put the fruit in. It's
Mhm.
it sees you through a vessel sees you through the difficult times, the smooth times. It's a vessel from which you get information, in other words. And so that's why I refer to myself as the chombo. In
Mhm.
1982, we were recognizing Karenga. And this is before I learned anything about from Art Graham, But we had given him an award, and I said that for being the vessel through whence we were giving you an award for being the vessel through whence the ancestors spoke.
Mhm.
Imada, who was his chief of staff, uh, after the award ceremony, Imada came back to me and he said, "I can't accept this." I said, "Why? What? Why? What's happening? You got to make it say that he's the creator." I said, "Well, brother, I'm not going to say that. I don't know why they just told me not to say that. They just said, I said, he's a vessel through which the ancestors speak. I mean, what else? I mean, What's the deal? Well, if you don't say he's not the creator, if you have to say he's the creator, if he doesn't say that, I'm not going to accept it. So I kept that for a long period of time. I don't know what happened to it since now, but it got lost. But that was why he never accepted it,
Wow.
because it didn't say that he was the creator. We are all vessels through whence the ancestors speak to us. And now that I really know that it was Graham that wrote it. Now, again, there's things that he must own up to. People will say, well, you have to have a documentation. You have to prove this. I don't have to prove anything. If he doesn't want to own up to it, that's on him.
Mm.
If you don't want to, if somebody doesn't want to accept the story that they just heard, it's on them. But we must tell the story correct. When you hear something orally, then it must be correct. A oral a keeper of the tradition must say it like it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can't
Mm-hmm.
switch around. You got to tell it like it is.
Yep. Yep. That's essential to culture keeping, right? That's central.
That's central. So if he doesn't want to own up to that, I mean, it's on him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has made his career off of this. And but now, as you see, we've advanced some other aspect of Kwanzaa that, if again, uh, you just don't realize. I mean, I've been told, "Oh, that don't mean nothing," and okay, whatever it is that a person. It's like I remember somebody. I did some art at one time, and somebody said, "Oh, that was done on some recycled stuff." I said, "Well, okay, it's still some art. Whatever it is that a person does, respect that. Whatever it is that a person does in the name of our culture, respect it. Because, as I said, I asked the ancestors to show me. I didn't ask Joe Blow to show me. I asked the ancestors to show me. Now, I'm never going to disrespect somebody else's ancestors. Those are our collective ancestors.
That's right.
And that's what I stand on. Now,
Okay.
listen, I say this. We we have to remember his name was Charles Colcock Jones. You ever heard of that man?
I feel like I've heard that name before. Where do I know it from?
Reverend Charles Colcock Jones. He had 3 plantations. He was a slave owner.
Yes.
After the rebellion that took place in Southampton County, Virginia in
Yes. 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 Mm-hmm.
1831, he told his fellow slave owners, he said, listen, y'all, I can sleep at night because I have given my slaves the Bible. And they police themselves. I don't have to worry about what they do because they are good Christians, and um, they police themselves. This is something. If you know the story about Harriet Tubman, Minty, that's what they called her, Minty, Araminta. Um, she would not allow her father to see her because if the slave master asked him, "Did you see your daughter?" he'd say yes, because he didn't lie. So she would talk to him outside the window. She would talk to him through a wall, but she never would talk to him face to face because her father would tell the truth. We have to recognize, again, I point out, Shango is an Orisha. Shango, the story could have come with Jesus. It could have come with Muhammad, could have come with Buddha, could have come with Krishna, whatever. but it came as Shango.
All right, I got it. Yeah.
And so I'm saying, listen, we are not to linger. We are supposed to grasp this and run with it
Yes.
because it's building our culture, bringing our people further into existence,
Yes.
making us be what we say we are.
Yes.
Now, that's something that everybody has to come to grips with. How you come to grips with that, that's on that's on the individual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's something that we, because we are a nation. Remember that. We are a nation.
That's right.
And we are growing into this unction, this great blossoming. We are developing. We are the Weusi people, not
Mm.
African American, not Afro American, uh, but the Weusi people. Note, it was in 1971. Many of us had on the walls of our kitchens or our dining room, we had a blessing. Let us be thankful for the food we're about to eat, for many of our brothers and sisters have nothing to eat. May peace be upon us soon. I had seen this. Its title was Asante Weusi. And I had it, I had calligraphy, not had it calligraphied. I calligraphied it, framed it, copied it on parchment, and I gave it out as gifts for 70, I think it was 71. And I'd given one to Oscar Wright, who last time I heard of Oscar, he was in Sacramento. But anyhow, I gave it to Oscar, and I was the cultural person within the organization known as PACE. I don't remember what the acronym of PACE actually stood for. Oscar was the founder of PACE, but I called him because we were getting to ready to do something for Black History Month, and I needed some information for him to complete the project that I was working on. And when I
Mhm.
called, he said, "Man, I sure am glad you called." I said, I was taken aback, and he said that one of his is a relative or friend had come into his household and saw Asante Weusi on the wall, and he asked Oscar the following question. He said, and now let me back up. This is the time when I'm on a quest. What is our name? I had asked a prayer. What is our name? Please show me a name, one word, not not a hyphenated name, but one word. So anyhow, as I called Oscar, and he said this person had come by his house, and they said he said, Oscar, what does Asante we us I mean? I said, Oscar, thank you. You just answered a prayer. Weusi is our name. Come to find out that it was Robert Williams, Negroes with Guns, in the 50s. He referred to us as Weusi.
Mm.
Uh, Bongo, the great silkscreen artist, he was from Philadelphia. He said the Sun Ra referred to we, us, and I. Uh, so in other words, Weusi, I didn't know this. I'm asking
Mm.
this here in LA. And they showed me through Weusi. So that's our name.
Wow.
Weusi. Not African American, but Weusi. So everybody got that? Weusi, which is a
Mhm.
Swahili word that literally means plural, blacks. Eusi is black. Weusi is literally plural, blacks. So that is our
Wow.
name.
All
So
right, that's that knowledge right there, man. I thank you so much for that. Just fascinating conversation with you, Brother Akil. Man, I spent so long. Let me ask you a question. You still running?
Listen, this year has been I've run this year, and I'm getting back into it. I went through had some health challenges earlier in the year, and so had an infection in my left foot, and I found myself not able to walk for a moment, brother. I had to call somebody
Wow.
to help me get home because I couldn't walk home. But
Wow.
I'm back at it. I'm back. You know, we do a walk and run. The four gates. The four gates. The Milango Ne. Milango means gates. Ne means four. So the four gates are Imtinde, the 21st of March to the 28th.
Hmm. Hmm.
Kidogo Ma'at, the back up. Imtinde commemorates the spring equinox. Kidogo Ma'at, June 16th to July 8th, commemorates the summer solstice. Omawale, September 21st to the 28th, commemorates the coming of fall, the autumn equinox. And finally, we just finished Anza, the winter solstice, the 5-day closing of the year. It commemorates at 12 midnight, going from December 25th to December 26th, or Wamitu 30 to Wakwanza 1. Happy New Year! And we light a black candle
Hmm.
for Asaru, because Asaru, that was considered his birthday. Now, who is Asaru? He's referred to as the Lord of the Perfect Black. He's the first of the intercalary days. When you read the story about Set having tricked Asaru to laying into the coffin, and through the lid on top, and sealed it with lead and pitch blende, and threw the coffin into the river. It said Set and 72 compatriots did this. What we didn't realize is that when you divide 72 into 360, the old calendar, you get 5 days. Those are the 5 days added to the 360-day calendar, resulting in a 365 and a quarter day calendar. When we did things, they had a practical sense as to why they were done. The whole story was based upon the addition of these 5 days, and they attached anthropomorphic attributes to it. Asaru uh, is the uh, Lord of the Perfect Black. What is the Perfect Black? Carbon. Without carbon, you have no life. Carbon is that's oil. That's even a diamond is carbon. Is the basis of blackness. Oil, wealth, the meaning of life, the carbon element. That is what it's all about. That's the importance of the resurrection. When we see Jesus, for example, with the crown of thorns on his head, we're thinking of the pain that he's gone through. We completely miss the point. A crown of thorns is made of vegetation. In Cheka Anta Diop's book, The African Origins of Civilization, Myth or Reality, in the footnotes to chapter 4, you can read it for yourself. African Origins of Civilization by Cheka Anta Diop. it says that December 25th was decreed by Pope Julius I in 350 AD as the birth of Jesus. Just one day removed from the already existing holiday that celebrated the birth of Asaru. He refers, he being Job, refers to it. Many people say Diop, but Job is how the name would be pronounced. That December 26th was the first, and as Job says, Osiris, but that's Asaru. And that was his birthday. And the other 5 days are Ast or Isis, the 27th. The Set was the 3rd. That's the 28th. The 29th is Nephthys. And the 30th is Heru. Those were the 5 days. The 5 referred to as the epigamo, or the intercalary days, that lock the calendar in place, that they never get out of order, and it locks things in place. That's why the 6,000 this year coming will be the 6,200 and the 6,266 years after the founding of Kumt. That's what this is referring to. So what we're talking about, we have to put our culture back together again. Don't just talk about that we originated here and we originated there. I got to go with Tadaka Ma'at Kilimanjaro. He says, build something. Don't just go buy a house, build something from scratch. Yeah, we can do it. And there's only one place in the entire universe where Kwanzaa began, and that's at the corner of Raymond and now King Boulevard. And when we stop and think about King Boulevard, he too was a soldier for justice. Martin Luther King Boulevard, Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, like Shango, was a hero and a soldier for justice. That is where Kwanzaa began, at the Aquarian Spiritual Center, right there. We must acquire that piece of property. We must own that. That's where Kwanzaa began. One day, that will be the center of what we do. The beginning of this new age began right here. And the photograph, I will send it to you so you can post. The photograph that of the children, and anybody can go to the BBC First Kwanzaa page, the BBC First Kwanzaa page, and you'll see that photograph. And I'm going to break it down to you. Hekima, who was the keeper of the records, he said the following. He and his family had to move. And as they were moving, they moved, and 2 weeks after they had moved, that's when they realized, wow, I left that box with all the information in the garage. And I talked to that white man so bad, I knew he threw it away. Now, quiet as it's kept, we don't really know. Let's just hope that maybe the white man may have realized he has something valuable. But the picture that you have of the children and the word, and you see it, it's spelled Kwanza. When you see that picture, you're going to see a girl and note what I'm saying, you'll see a girl in the leopard skin motif outfit. That's Terry Damu. You see the girl in the end, that's her sister, Tanya. And the boy immediately to her right is Sam Carr Jr. That's Anza. That's his name. And the girl in the K, that's Kinamu. It was because of Kinamu saying, I want to be a part of this. And so Damu made another letter. He gave it to Terry because he knew he could tell her what to do and what not to do, and she would follow his instructions. And that's exactly what she says on the BBC site. She said that the adults they wanted to be correct. And so they told her, take the A off, take the A off. But if you look closely at her hands, you will see the way she has her hands. She has string in her hands. The string from the letter that her father had made for her. But that is how Kwanzaa got rolling. I don't know the other four, the other three of the boys. I've named three. I've named four of the people. Terry is the girl in the leopard motif. The girl in the inn is Tanya, and her brother is Anza. That's his Sam Carr Jr. That's Damu's son, and Kinamo is the girl with the K. She goes back and forth to Ghana on a regular basis, but I was just talking with her. These youth, as children, they started the new age, and that is exactly what Lagan said. He said that while he was expecting a new age to begin, he was thinking in terms of the age of Aquarius. It is the age of Kwanzaa, or the age of Kwanzaa, the age of Shango are synonymous one with the other. And because that photograph is the only photograph or picture that actually captures when an event started, when an age started. And we know this took place, making this age exactly what Lagan said. He refers to the watchwords of Aquarius as being, I know, not I believe or I have faith, which was make Christianity and Islam be synonymous with the age of Pisces. The age of Kwanzaa is I know, and that photograph confirms this is a time of I know. And that's, as we move forward into this new age, that is going to be more and more. It's going to be of what you know, knowledge. And Shango is based on knowledge. Justice, knowledge. He's the drummer. He gives out information. All that is important. And it just codifies that you couldn't be in Dr. Lagan's presence more than a half hour before he would say something to the effect of, an age is coming, a new age is coming. That's what it was his message. Ron Townsend, the Fifth Dimension, he would go to the Aquarian Spiritual Center. He was a janitor at Dorsey High School when I ran track at Dorsey High School. And he became very famous from, the singing the song, the Fifth Dimension singing the song, The Coming of the Age of Aquarius. And so, and that was influenced by Dr. Alfred Lagan. So yes, it happened exactly like Lagan said.
Well, RW Akile, man, thank you so much for coming, sipping some coffee with us. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Fascinating stuff. I'm sitting there spellbound and everything. And so,
thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just very, very good stuff. So what time's the Gwaride start on 26 in LA?
11 a.m. The corner of Adams and Crenshaw.
Okay.
Southbound to Lamert Park. The cars will make a left turn on Vernon. The walking units will go into the park, and there'll be a festival closing the park. I mean, closing the Gwaride.
Man, let me just tell you publicly, thank you so much for what you have done to preserve and keep the culture truth telling, culture keeping through storytelling, with the history of Kwanzaa, the consciousness that is Kwanzaa. However, it manifested itself into our certainly, one of the catalysts for it being certainly an eyewitness. And I want to just thank you for the work that you have done over the years. You've been that guy a long while.
A little bit. As I say, I've been doing it a little bit.
Yes,
You're right.
sir.
I have to agree.
Yes, sir, man. So much love to you, man. And drop your email.
Say that one more time. Put my email out.
Yeah, drop your email, or how do you want people to get a hold of you?
Kwanzaa Gwaride. I must do it slowly. KWANZAGWARIDE at gmail.com. Let me repeat. Kwanzaa Gwaride, GWARIDE at gmail.com. One more time so to crystallize and get everybody's mind. Kwanzaa Gwaride, GWARIDE at gmail.com. And if you have a problem with that, Akile, KK, at yahoo.com. AKILE, at yahoo.com. I hope everybody can.
All right, y'all. That's what we're gonna do right there. That's it. Look, examination and exegesis about Kwanzaa there. It's going down right there. You can listen to this broadcast all on our Facebook pages, Coffee Conversations with Greg J, our website, Beat City Radio, beatcityradio.com. Where else? Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. We repurposed the audio for audio only broadcast, and you can hear that wherever you get your favorite podcast: Apple, Spreaker, Spotify, Google, iHeart, just wherever. Just look it up, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Happy Kwanzaa, y'all. That's what we're talking about. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. And above all, love one another. I want to thank Brother Akil, man. He's an artist, historian, nationalist, activist. He's that good guy. And thank him so much for coming through and giving us, wow, quite the history. Yeah. Yeah. All right, y'all. Go in peace. Love one another. Peace and blessings.